discussing with you priorities and community needs and challenges and things that we can work on and focus on together are. So the first part of the meeting, we'll be speaking, and then we will really be opening it up to questions and answers from you here in person, as well as some of you virtually. We're going to try to get through as many questions as we can. I know there is also a Q&A chat function on the Zoom. We will try to get through as many of those questions as we can also. If we do not get to them, please just reach out to our office and we will follow up with you directly. But with that, I think all I'd like to say is we're all here to try and work towards our priorities together. So if we could just be respectful of each other's time and presence and, just keep it respectful, that's all. And with that, I think I'm going to pass it over to you, Councilwoman.
All right.
It actually moves around.
Oh, it does? All right. Well, I'm going to stand here. What's up, Playa Vista? Yeah, it is good to see you guys and to be back here with you this evening. Really, really nice to have so many people here in person, and hi to everyone that is joining us online. We really appreciate you being flexible. I know we had to reschedule this date once, but we're very, very glad that we finally get to be here and to be able to do this in a hybrid format is great. At the end of 2024, I sat and wrote our goals as a council district, some big priorities and things that I wanted to do. And as we headed into January of 2025, at the top of that list was putting together a series of district-wide town halls. And I really wanted to get some time doing this around the district. And then January 7th happened. And that is something that has forever changed our council district and our communities and our city. And I want to thank Playa Vista and the many of you who have opened your arms and your neighborhoods and your schools and your businesses and your hearts to so many folks from the Pacific Palisades who have been displaced. I know that there are many Palisadians amongst you here in Playa Vista, and it makes me feel better to know that they're here with you and that they're safe and that they are being well looked after as we continue to slog through what is the largest disaster in our city's history and is now shifting from the largest recovery operation into what will be the largest construction zone in our city's history. I often use Playa Vista as an example when I talk about what lies ahead for the Palisades, and pointing out that, if we were building Playa Vista right now, we would have spent a decade planning for this and securing the materials and the labor and aligning the deliveries to align with the milestones on the project. And here we are about to do this under very, very different circumstances. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you as well for your grace in those initial first few months when my team and I really had to deploy all of our resources to try to get the district stabilized and to get so many thousands of our constituents back on their feet. So thank you for your patience during that time. We finally launched the series of town halls this spring. And so we are really, really glad that as we are into summer, we have an opportunity to be here in Playa Vista. I have a lot of things on the agenda that I want to cover with you tonight, just to lay some groundwork before we open it up to questions. I'm also going to have LAPD talk to you a little bit. I know that crime and public safety, and I know the e-bike issue is top of mind for everyone. We are going to talk about that. In fact, we are going to dive deep into that issue, which is why I have our friends from Pacific Division with us here this evening. I'm going to finish with that because I want to set the table with some other updates that I just want you to have. I want to start with homelessness generally. You all know that when I ran for office and when I was elected, that was our shared top of mind issue across the district. Just the other day, I went back and pulled the count numbers from January of 2020. right before things got really, really bad in 2020. And at that time, the estimates of unhoused, unsheltered, unhoused people in our district was over 3,000. As of the count that was just done this year in 2025, we are just over 600. We have housed more people in the last 2 years out of encampments on the streets in our neighborhoods than were housed in the prior decade. That is a remarkable the determination and the leadership that we have brought to this. I wanted to share with you specifically, Playa Vista falls into the Westchester Playa region for purposes of the count. We have seen 2 years now, consecutive years, major reductions in the number of unhoused in CD11, but in this part of the district in particular. So I wanted to share with you that total unsheltered in this 12-month cycle, we had a decrease of 59% in your local community in CD11. I know some days it doesn't feel like it, but we have actually had a nearly 40% decrease in the number of RVs and a nearly 70% decrease in the number of vehicles, cars in this district. In this particular section, the Westchester Playa Neighborhood Council region. I will tell you that as we have addressed these encampments since I came in, and let me just remind you of some of the ones that we've done to take a walk down memory lane. 90 and Culver, 3rd and Rose, 150 tents over there in Venice. Venice and the 405 freeway. That encampment had existed there for over a decade. I won't even tell you what we pulled out of the storm drains when we cleared that encampment. You remember Glencoe, the Culver median, and everyone, of course, remembers Jefferson Boulevard.
Yes.
I will tell you what we pulled out of that one. You may remember when we completed removing the RVs in August of 2023. That was just as the hurricane, it turned out to be the hurricane, was on its way to LA. Underneath the RVs, it looked like small electronic devices had just exploded everywhere. Little bits of plastic, wire, nuts and bolts, thousands of cigarette butts all over the roadway. And I didn't want all of that washing into the wetlands and then out to the ocean. So we brought out special street sweeping services to actually collect that material up off the roadway. We also removed trash and debris out of the freshwater marsh. And do you remember when there was the shooting at the RV encampment? They had, apparently the people involved in that incident have been involved in stealing some ATM machines over in Venice. We actually recovered the ATMs out of the swamp. Yeah. So among other really gross, disgusting things that we uncovered in that operation. So we have been very, very strategic and diligent about deploying resources. We started with the biggest, most complicated, most problematic encampments first. And as we have had beds and resources available, we have done those very large interventions. We also do daily operations that a lot of you probably don't even notice, that we don't even talk about as much. We were able to secure an extra Care Plus, a Coastal Care Plus team for CD11, which gives us more days of operations in our coastal communities, including Playa Vista, and frees up our other Care Plus teams and care teams to work in other parts of the district. That has been a huge benefit. We also, when I took office, brought all of our service providers that are embedded around the district that had been operating in silos previously into one room. They weren't working on any joint mission or collaborating to achieve joint results. Everyone was operating in silos. We took those silos down. We actually embedded LASA with my team in the CD11 office. We have Circle team in there. We now all start our day together. We go out on missions together and we come back together as a team at the end of the day. And even just that alignment and leadership, it has made a huge difference. I have also been very open and outspoken about my use of and support for our city's Safe Schools and Parks Ordinance. That is section 4118 of our municipal code. And that allows us to restrict tent camping on the public right-of-way around certain sensitive uses like schools, parks, daycares, and libraries. Thank you. Thank you, Trey. When I took office, we had no areas in CD 11 designated pursuant to our Safe Schools and Parks Ordinance. The week I took office, we identified and designated every single school in CD 11. We have since then systematically rolled out new zones for protection around the entire district. We now have well over 50 of them, including the entire Ballona wetlands. Now, it's a rule that prevents people from camping in the public right-of-way. It doesn't prevent somebody from putting a tent up. It just gives us the ability to engage with that person and tell them, you are not permitted to be that close to this school or this park or this other use. The combination of our offers of shelter and resources with consistent regulation and enforcement in our public spaces has made a huge difference. I will also share with you, though, that we are at a point now where we are down to some of the hardest cases left on the streets. We are dealing now with a predominantly a population of individuals who suffer from very serious mental health and or addiction issues. And I still lack adequate legal tools and resources to force the issue with people in those circumstances. I have always been very clear in my thinking about this and in the positions that I have taken in city council. I don't think it is humane to leave people who are not well enough to make good decisions on their own behalf, sick and addicted and dying on the side of the road. And yet that is what current policy allows for. I have introduced legislation to expand 4118s to include very high fire severity zones around our critical infrastructure. Anybody remember the 10 freeway fire? And around some other sensitive locations in our city. Getting the support of the city council to do things like that gets increasingly difficult. You may remember a few weeks back, Governor Newsom issued another announcement or directive to cities to go get these encampments cleared up. He went so far as to include a proposed model ordinance to go with it. And it was similar to our 4118. It had one new thing that we didn't have that would have barred anyone from camping in any one location for more than 3 nights. We don't have that rule here in LA. And you know, that again, that is not a tool that prevents homelessness or solves it, but it does address entrenchment, which is part of the challenge. So I tried to introduce that in city council and I couldn't even get a second on my motion. I am swimming upstream on a lot of these policy issues, and despite clear rulings from the US Supreme Court that we do in fact have the lawful ability to regulate our public spaces, the city has been non-responsive, frankly, when it comes to changing some of those policies. Now, I am continuing to push, and there are, you know, some changes looming. The way we deliver services has changed drastically. For those of you that follow along with this, you all know that Measure A is now the replacement to the old Measure H, which funds county services for homelessness and addiction and mental health. All of that money is now going to the county, which has pulled out of LAHSA and defunded it, hired most of the staff directly to serve in the new county Department of Homelessness. I've been very clear since taking office that I have wanted a divorce from LAHSA as well. This has been a 20-year partnership that has not reduced homelessness. It has exacerbated it year after year. So I think we're a tad late to the party. We couldn't get the support that I needed to do it sooner, but now we are left with the situation, but we have no choice except to conceive of another continuum of care, which could have the benefit of us being able to localize decision-making and control of where and how our tax dollars are being spent on homelessness. So there is a lot of debate going on currently inside City Hall about how all of that is going to shake out over the next year or so. I want to just mention briefly with RVs. We have been frankly so successful with the tent encampments, and there are still some, and we know where they appear. There are places where we continue to have challenges because we are dealing frankly at this point with a population of people who either just don't want to go or they aren't well enough to say yes when help is offered. But the RVs are the #1 thing that my office gets complaints about at this point. We have been very, very clear that we want to see consistent, regular enforcement of all posted parking signage for a lot of reasons, including ongoing litigation and general bureaucracy and lack of clear direction from city leadership. Getting the support that we need on some of those issues has been a challenge. That said, we in CD11 continue to persist. And like I said, I know it doesn't feel like it on some days, but this council district accounts for more than 30% of the tows and impounds citywide. That's pretty remarkable, given that we are 1/15 of the city. And again, that is because we as a team are consistently working with our partners at DOT and LAPD on those enforcement issues. That said, we do not have adequate resources to do this fast enough or often enough. That all said, I wanted to mention that we did have some success that we are proud of. This has been an ongoing project here in Playa Vista. Obviously, the RVs around Home Depot and Westside Neighborhood School have been an ongoing challenge for a very, very long time. We have worked directly with Westside Neighborhood School to install loading zones, thinking about kids returning to school. That infrastructure addition will help us manage future issues with RVs around the school. Some of them moved over to the box area, and we actually ended up retaining a service provider who specializes in vehicular homelessness. We started about 4 months ago with 20 RVs in that location, and as of yesterday, we were able to finally get the last 3. So that has been an ongoing effort. We wanted you all to know that we were aware of it and have been working on it for some time. We were able to house a number of folks out of that operation, and that is going to be really, really helpful to have that area cleared. Westside Neighborhood School is expanding. You probably have heard onto Alla Road across from the Sony building. And with that expansion, we will be able to secure another 4118 zone, which will at least help us with any tent encampments within 500 feet of the school. So we are going to continue to keep very, very close eyes on that and addressing those issues as they come up. So I'm going to switch over to public safety. This continues to be a top of mind issue and a challenge around the entire city of Los Angeles. Here in Council District 11, over the last couple of years, property crimes have been our biggest issue. We have certainly seen an uptick in the number of home burglaries, certainly folks breaking into garages, bike thefts, burglaries from vehicles, and that sort of thing. Playa Vista is certainly no exception to this. Although we certainly saw a pretty dramatic reduction, at least immediately after the encampment on Jefferson was cleared. So we are aware of that. I wish that we were in a position to be able to say that we have, you know, a surplus of patrol resources that we can send. LAPD's staffing has fallen to, in my opinion, dangerously critically low levels. We could be down as low as 8,600 sworn officers by the end of this year in a city of 4 million people. That is not enough police officers, period. I am very, very grateful to LAPD, who has been very generous in sending us additional resources to areas where we have had challenges, and we are very, very grateful to them for that. We also recognize that we are going to have to move the city of Los Angeles into a modern century, and we are going to have to start making investments in technology supplements. When I took office, there were a couple of very small pilot programs running for real-time crime centers, none here in the West Side. Through my successful legislative efforts, we are now expanding real-time crime centers to all 21 police divisions. And here on the West Side, we are in line to get one next year. In the meantime, we have been making investments in some of the infrastructure that we are going to need to support the real-time crime center. At the end of last year, you may have seen I did a big press conference with our police chief and our district attorney announcing that we were investing in automated license plate reader cameras that we are going to be positioning all around Council District 11. We've worked closely with the community and LAPD and identified locations here in Playa Vista. This is the first wave of cameras that we're going to be installing. We are going to continue to build that network out. Those license plate readers are available to LAPD to help with situational awareness when there is an ongoing incident. It is also something that can serve as a source of evidence that can lead to arrest and prosecution. Is it the same deterrent as having a patrol car in your neighborhood? No, I don't think so. But it's an assist and it's an investment that we need to make. So we are working all over the district to get that infrastructure up and running, and we are really excited about the opportunity that it brings to us. So with that, I want to turn to, one last thing I wanted to give you an update on, Biona Wetlands and the Jefferson Trail. So when we cleared the encampment, the RV encampment on Jefferson, you may have noticed we did a huge trail restoration project. We had to remove the topsoil that all had been contaminated with oil and chemicals and whatever else had come out of the encampment. That's all been replanted. Over 1,000 new plants and native species went in. The fences that had all been chopped down have been replaced. You can walk the trail. It is open now, but we are going to keep the fence up until our new protected bike lane goes in. We are really excited. We are going to get a K-rail protected bike lane that will connect now Playa Vista down to Playa del Rey. And nobody is ever going to park on that stretch of Jefferson. That goes with it. Wanted to mention one last thing, and then we're going to talk about e-bikes. The slope failure below LMU. LMU has been working with us in our office, and I know there's been a lot of conversations with Playa Vista about that. Phase 1 of the project, which was the removal of the LMU letters, was completed in November. The current work is focusing on getting the slope stabilized where the letters were removed. We think that will be done this November. And after that, there's going to be new vegetation installed, which will help further stabilize the area and hopefully improve the aesthetics a little bit. We think that should be done by June of 26. And then at some point after that, LMU is going to replace the letters. So we have been in touch with the Bureau of Engineering and our city partners on long-term fixes as well. So that is something that we continue to monitor and keep a close eye on. So e-bikes. Over the last several months, we've certainly heard an uptick in the number of complaints about this issue, but this issue is not new to Playa Vista. This has actually been going on over here for some time. I have been particularly frustrated and annoyed by this because this isn't just kids out riding their bikes, getting fresh air, behaving like kids. This is throwing fireworks, egging people's cars, smashing windows, and crossing a line that really isn't appropriate and that no community should have to put up with. We have had several conversations with LAPD about this over the last several months. I don't particularly love LAPD's policy on this. I'm going to let them explain it to you. I would like to see a little bit heavier handed enforcement. Follow the kids home. That is my preference here, but I will let them explain what the policies are and what some of the challenges are with doing that. That said, they are taking this issue seriously. They have heard my calls for assistance with this. We have already met with LAPD and we are in conversations currently with the city attorney's office about potential legislative fixes that can be made. So I want to thank LAPD for their time and assistance helping us identify that. And we did get the letter from your community. We heard you loud and clear. We do take these things seriously and we are working in response to those. So before I hand it over to LAPD to talk a little bit more about the e-bikes and what they can do, what they can't do, and what they are doing about it now, wanted to make a couple of quick introductions. Sergeant Galvin in the back has been leading our beach detail this summer. And he and lifeguards and beaches and harbors and in partnership with LAPD have actually been down doing citations and enforcement for illegal parking and bonfires down in Playa del Rey. So he has just been an amazing partner in leading that effort. We are super excited to have him. Yes. I will just tell you. When I told LAPD that I wanted receipts, don't call the mayor, that's not what I meant to do. Hang on, I gotta show you because it's that good. When I told him that I wanted receipts, he texted me receipts. Those are all the citations they had issued. What, that week?
It was 1 week.
That in 1 week. That was all the citations they issued. So well done, LAPD. Don't know Captain Robles. She has been in Pacific Division, what, about a year now? Yeah, about a year now, and she has just been an amazing, incredible partner, very, very responsive to me and my team and to the community. We're very, very lucky to have her. You know, the sergeant, or our senior lead officer, Ramirez, just wonderful. He was my senior lead officer in Venice before he had you. I'm sad to see him go, but you are in very, very good hands with him. Here we have Officer Lubbock is in the back as well. Always good to have you here. And the newest addition to our Pacific Division team is Captain Eric Eppolito, who is joining us from the Valley. And I think is going to be, he hadn't even returned from his vacation before starting his new post and was already responding to emails and engaging with the community. I think we are very, very lucky to have him joining us and to have this additional new leadership over here in Pacific Division. So with that, who wants to be the brave one to step up here and talk to these people about e-bikes? All right, Captain Eppolito, welcome to CD11.
Playa Vista, how are you?
Good.
First of all, I want to thank Councilwoman Park. I don't know if you know this, but we are extremely lucky to have her because a lot of our success is determined on a partnership with our council office, and she is one of the very best. And we're very lucky So thank you very much, because. So, my name is, Eric Eppolito. As, Councilwoman just, mentioned, I came over from the Valley. I was working over at, Devonshire, Porter Ranch, Granada Hills area for about 2 years. I am over here now, and I'm very excited. I have about 28 years on the job. Started when I was 21. I have a wife who's currently a captain also, with the Los Angeles Police Department. And what I want to tell you, that the main message that I want to give you tonight is my partner will go into, how we're down, overall with violent crime and things like that. But what I want you to know, if you walk out of here tonight, is that we hear your concerns. Not only do we hear them, we are gonna be responsive to them. We're gonna engage you when you have a question, and we're gonna get back to you. I want you to know that. Now, it's real easy if, we have a shooting across the street, we're gonna jump all over that, okay? That we're gonna handle in 2 seconds. I can tell you that violent crime is down in Playa Vista, and that's great. But if you have an issue with some e-biker throwing something at you, or some encampment in front of your house, or as a gentleman over here told me, double parking that might lead to collisions, those are important issues also, quality of life issues. So we are gonna address that, and if you send us an email, if you send me an email, I'm gonna get back to you. And yeah, it's true, we have limited resources, but the good news is I have resources, and the resources and the cards I do have, we are gonna play. Okay, we are gonna be aggressive in enforcement. When you talk about e-bikes, let's talk about e-bikes, because that's one of the reasons we're here. I understand that that's been an ongoing problem for over a year. Now, there's certain challenges, obviously, we're not gonna go and we're not gonna chase somebody in an e-bike with a patrol car.
Why not?
That. Well, we're not gonna pursue in vehicles that can lead to other problems. However, and hear me on this, there is a lot of things we can do, and there's a lot of things we are working to do. There's multiple sections we can cite them for. There's ways to impound the bikes if they're not wearing helmets. This is all different types of sections and tools that we have. So you're gonna see some enforcement, and you're gonna see it relatively quick. We are gonna plan something, and we are gonna be out here, and we are gonna be visible for those individuals that are out here creating havoc and breaking the law. So I just want you to know that when it comes to e-bikes, just because we can't chase them, there's a lot of other things we can do. We can stop them. We have plainclothes officers that can be out there watching them. And when we get them, they're not just gonna be warned and say, go on your own way. They're gonna be cited. They're gonna be arrested if that's in play. If we're gonna impound their bikes, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do that as well. So let me just tell you that this is coming. It's not gonna be every night. I wish I could have 10 officers out here every night dealing with it. But you're gonna see us, and that is just one of the issues. Anything else that comes up, I want you to know that I'm excited to be here, and I am gonna deal with it forefront. And if something you're unhappy about, if there's something that is not working, if you have a problem and you're upset, feel free to email me, because the buck stops with me when it comes to Pacific Division. If you are not getting the service that you deserve, you let me know, and we will rectify that problem. But the good news is we have a great team. You were just introduced to my entire team. There's not just a me. All I really do is kind of direct things and go to meetings. But all these team members I have, my supervisors, my partner, this is how we get it done. But let me stress, we can't get it done without the support of the community. The partnership, the collaboration, we cannot do it without you. So thank you for being here, because whether it's e-bikes, whether it's homeless, whatever the problem is, we need you, okay, as much as you need us. I know you have a lot of questions, so I'm gonna just turn it over to my partner, Captain Robles, real quick, because like I said, we're a team, and she's gonna briefly go over the crime numbers for the year and our successes. Captain Robles.
Thank you. So like my partner mentioned, my name is Lita Robles. I am the Patrol Commanding Officer for Pacific Division. I've been there for approximately 1 year, and I do have to echo what my partner said. Councilwoman Tracy Park, you are the ambassador of public safety We are extremely thankful for your advocacy and your support, not only for public safety for us, but also for our community members. So thank you for the partnership. A bit of background on myself. This is my first year at Pacific. I have worked in Pacific previously under undercover capacity with beach surveillance, with narcotics, with gang, testified as court expertise for gangs. So pretty familiar with this area. In addition to that, just some educational background, a bachelor's from UC Davis and a master's also in criminal justice. So crime in general has always been my passion. So I'm very thankful. I also was a detective. Have a lot of passion for being a voice for the victims and advocacy. I do have one child that passed away, so that my heart is always with my little one. But while I'm at work, I'm very committed. Like my partner mentioned, within 24 hours or less, you will receive a response from me. We carry our phone 24/7, and we're here to be proactive to ensure that we maximize public safety for all of you. And like my partner mentioned, e-bikes is a concern, but we understand that I want to give you a full overall picture of the crime that's occurring in your area for your full awareness as to what is going on. Year to date, we are down when it comes to violent crime. And what that encompasses for your awareness is we don't have any homicides in this area. Rapes, we do have 4, but to give you so much safety idea is all those 4 rapes that occurred in this area were committed by someone that the person knew. So our investigative team will follow up on that. As far as comes to robbery, we had 1 robbery year to date and then 8 aggravated assaults. So that in turn came down to being 19% in violent crime. We also monitor property crime. Property crime is a bit up 9%. The majority of what I saw is that reported crime was burglaries and motor vehicle thefts were a bit up. So my public safety points to all of you is when it comes to your cars, make sure that you guys secure them with the windows, with the locks. Don't leave any property in open visibilities. And also when it comes to burglaries, secure our doors, especially sliding doors. What happens is a lot of suspects are checking the doors to see if they're open, or in some cases they'll do break the glass. Another component is giving you awareness is to make sure you secure your electric box. What's happening is a lot of burglary suspects are smashing or opening the electric box and shutting down the electricity, so the Wi-Fi is shut down and the camera system then is inoperable. So just wanted to give you some safety pointers to make sure that you guys are aware how to keep your property safe. I know at times it's very difficult and challenging to get through 911, especially if it's non-emergency concern. I'm here as the patrol captain where I oversee all of patrol operations. So every vehicle that is out there for patrol, I oversee them. I oversee the watch commander. If you have any questions, concerns, email me directly or call me directly. Again, I take my job very seriously. Call me and I can assure you that I will send a black and white police vehicle to wherever it's needed to make sure that we have a coordinated effort to keep all of you safe and secure. You can count on me and my partner to make sure that we are responsive to all of you, because that is our job.
All right.
I will
Thank
give
you,
it to.
I'll be real brief, but when the councilwoman speaks about all these things, one thing I was thinking about was, I've never had a councilwoman on multiple occasions or council member ever show up at a cleanup or RV operation, boots on the ground. I mean, probably the first week you came into office, I mean, you start seeing her. As a matter of fact, last week you were out there with us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everyone was saying how lucky we are, and I'll echo that. I mean, we are very fortunate. I've never seen that before, and I would challenge any other council person in the city council if they even go out there. So I can't say it, but I can't thank you enough for that. My name is Officer Ramirez. I've been a senior lead officer here at Pacific Division for almost 8 years. Been here at Pacific Division for 16 years. I see a lot of faces I recognize, probably names a little better through email. One thing I wanted to talk about real briefly is Warren back there. So thank you, Warren. Warren does my job. He makes my job much more easier. Everyone sends basically community complaints to him. He does a good job to filter through them. He goes through that and basically gives me the meat and potatoes of the issues. He'll email me, Javi, this is where we have a problem. So thank you for making my job easier, Warren. I can't say that enough either. Don, thank you too. e-bike issue. I'm sure it's, yeah, I mean, I'll crack it if everyone's okay with this. So e-bike issue, right? Everyone's problem. Just real brief historic significance around COVID. E-bikes somehow just frowned upon and they were affordable. Kids, especially on the west side, the South Bay, somehow they all had e-bikes, right? They were home, away from school. They became very popular, and somehow they kind of migrated over to Playa Vista Pacific Division. A lot of this was because of the small cities over in the South Bay. They're quick to enact laws and regulations that actually regulate that. So a lot of them kind of migrated over here. There was a perception of lax laws in the city of LA on the west side. They come over here and we kind of inherited that problem. There is some kids that are from Westchester, from Culver City, from the Marina, from even Santa Monica, a good amount. Correct me if I'm wrong, Warren. They are from the South Bay. They make their way along the bike path onto Bologna Creek, come out here. There's a good access, easy access, and basically Playa Vista, unfortunately, they made it somewhat of their playground, which is a problem and affects everyone. So I'm not sure if we're gonna go ahead and answer questions. I don't want to rant too much, but
I have a couple.
absolutely.
So there are e-bikes, right? I have an e-bike. I ride my e-bike around Venice and up and down the bike path. These things, I'm not sure they're e-bikes.
They're not.
They're like not street legal motorcycles.
They're M2 motorcycles.
They're absolutely not.
Whatever it is, what is it?
They're
Some-
M2 class motorcycles.
Yeah.
All of them are M2 class. They are not e-bikes.
So that seems a different kettle of fish to me. If they're not street legal and they're riding them in streets, why can't we intervene and take the toy away?
We will, that's part of the plan coming up.
Okay, so I have a question. Everybody has a camera. There's a camera everywhere. Why don't we know who these kids are and why haven't they been ratted out to their parents? One of the most effective ways, I would think, is to get to the kids is to let the parents know what they're engaging in. If you have video and evidence that this kind of behavior, I'm more afraid of my mom than I probably even was of the police. Well, I had a healthy dose of fear of the police, at least when I was a kid. I know things are different now, but like, how do we get to the parents and make them be responsible for the way their kids are behaving?
So we have a plan, and we're implementing the plan right now. We've been working with other beach cities and neighboring cities, Beverly Hills, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, find out what's working for them. And we're trying to implement things that were successful in those areas. So in talking to some of those people, I can tell you that they do follow these kids home. That's very effective. They're implementing things that we're just having come online now, which is mainly drone programs. So I can tell you from the LAPD policy and perspective, just from a traffic crash we had 2 days ago.
Yep.
When we try to stop these kids that are riding these e-bikes, they have a tendency to try to take off. It's real chat. 2 days ago, we had one cross an intersection and immediately get taken out by a Chevy Equinox and sent from the hospital. That is the stakes of the game we're playing. We're trying to avoid that. We want to identify these people, but we have to balance it. We have to balance it against the safety of the public, including the person we're trying to apprehend. We do have a drone program that's coming online right now. I can tell you that we have an air base in Topanga that's dealing with a pilot program for drones. We're looking to expand that to the west side.
Yes.
It is what other cities, Beverly Hills has been very effective at following people's drones. And much like the councilwoman has said, if we can follow these kids home safely, effectively, identify that, then the problem's done. We can impound the e-motorcycle, which it is. Any of these e-bikes lose their classification if they go above 750 watts power or 4 brake horsepower. They become a moped. If they go above 150 cc displacement, they become a motorcycle. So juveniles cannot ride free. California also changed laws that all have to have certain labels. They'll have to have pedals. The issue with technology when it first came out is that it was only legally required when it's sold. So you can have class 2 stickers on your e-bike, you have pedals on it. As soon as the kids get it, they take it home, they tear it apart, they tear out the engine, they put a way bigger one in, they take the pedals off. You guys know what I'm talking about. See, yes, it's nodding. This is an education issue. It's absolutely an education issue we need to push out on the public, PSAs, and also to the bike shops. I believe we can change it with LMC legislation, specifically give admonishments to the bike shops when they're selling these things to adults. Basically, hey, just so you know, if you give this to Junior and Junior kills himself, that's on you. It's no different than anything else dangerous to deal with. It just, the technology is far outstripped the law. So last time we had an update to laws dealing with e-bikes, e-motorcycles, e-scooters, we were talking about segways and bird scooters were coming online. This was about half a decade ago. I know all of you know what I'm talking about. We haven't had a real tangible update to LMC since then. I'm working with that with Sean Silva. I know I've submitted a slew of legislation updates that are going both citywide and for the Venice Beach area to specifically address these concerns.
Because there's the illegal vendors out there who rent those,
Yes,
not street legal things.
yes.
Those guys gotta go too.
We are trying to restrict access of these things. On Oceanfront Walk specifically, I can tell you that we have all these bike shops that are selling, or they're renting bikes. We can't legally ride them anywhere. They're all technically mopeds and motorcycles. We can't ride them on the bike path, we can't ride them on Oceanfront Walk, can't even ride them on the street because for a moped, you have to have proper equipment, all the lights, the turn signals, the license plate, a DOT approved crash helmet, like,
They don't have a special driver's license to ride a motorcycle?
it's an M1 classification for a motorcycle. It also requires a great deal of training to be able to do that. A lot of people who don't know how to ride a motorcycle, like the juveniles we're seeing, don't know how to handle that kind of power or the particulars of handling a motorcycle and will end up getting into crashes because they can't react fast enough to what happens on the road when they're traveling that speed.
Well, and they're doing stupid shit like riding with one foot on standing on the seat, dangling off the handlebars and leaving up off the sidewalk and in and out of tables where people are trying to eat lunch. Like, it's mayhem. It's mayhem.
We absolutely agree. We understand that's a nuisance. And while we wait for legislative changes to happen, we're working behind the scenes with the CD11 to make that happen. But in addition to that, we're also making proactive efforts to have extra visibility here in Playa Vista itself. We're having a coordinated effort. We have tasked our senior lead officer, Javier Ramirez, to lead a task force so we can have all resources on deck to utilize to be effective, whether it be undercover resources, our VTD, Valley Traffic Division road off units, so they can be more accessible and more mobile with the, the area of where we can squeeze certain vehicles in. We're going to work on all those if we have to call other resources on deck, but we definitely would like the support of the council member so that we can have drone access capability, because that's how we can identify them and following them to their house and residence, and then at that point connect with the city attorney's office or even the district attorney's office so we can file on them and create a crime report from that point out.
I got my full support for the drones. We are actually getting them in West LA as part of the Real Time Crime Center. It's going to be a huge, big deal. And when I said that we were, installing that first series of license plate reader cameras, it's just the first series. What I want to build out for you guys is a system where from the minute somebody enters Council District 11, you can track their movements until they leave.
Yes.
And that's the infrastructure that I am trying to build out. It's gonna take us time to get there. We need to get your communities networked, all of you working through your HOAs, so we can get a live feed over to LAPD and get you guys plugged in. So this is gonna be a multi-year
Yes, it
effort,
is.
but one of the things that need to come with this is the technology and the capability, and that includes the drones. I've been over to Beverly Hills. I've seen what they're doing over there.
I was just about to say,
It's amazing. And it's crazy to me that in the second largest city in our country, we are like dragging the bureaucracy kicking and screaming into a modern century. You should see the equipment these men and women have to work with, frankly. It's shameful how outdated their computer systems and their technology are. They are driving around in vehicles that are a decade beyond their useful lifespans. it's just the way we have spent money as a city for decades does not align with the things that you need as a community or what they need to deliver the results for you that you expect of them. So you all know my outrage in the budget and the useless spending that we do here in the city of LA, and this is the product of it. They don't have what they need. So they've heard my frustration loud and clear about this, obviously. And I really appreciate you guys springing into action to do what you can and give us the resources and the tools. And I appreciate the task force and the bodies, you know, they actually have bike patrols and folks out on foot walking your trails, which by the way is open for pedestrian access, not bikes, but you know, they're out there doing this work for you. And so I just want to say thank you. I'm giving you guys a little bit of a hard time because I've been everything that you're doing. Thank you all for the ongoing feedback and engagement around this. I mean, look, your police officer sitting here reading the municipal code, telling us what we need to fix. That's real customer service, and we're very, very grateful to you for it. Thank you.
One of the best things about Councilmember Park is she has a lot of passion. And that is what we need. I'm like, anyone with passion to do their job, I know because I have it. I would do this job for free. It's not telling anybody, but I would. We need individuals with passion, and she has a lot of it. Yes, we have some outdated equipment. Yes, we're low on resources, but we still have resources. We will get the job done. Yes, they're not all e-bikes. A lot of them aren't. I'm aware of it. We're into it. We are going to create a task force, but a task force comes in, they're here one day, they're here 2 days, they make a statement. We will make a statement. But the key is also getting out there, letting our patrol officers, we got to inform them. We have to train them. Sergeant Gelvin is great. He can give you every section. I have about 20 on here that we can cite. But I need my patrol officers out there to also know that. So it's an ongoing thing. It doesn't happen overnight. But let me assure you, we are on it. You have my word. And we are going to get on it quick. So does anybody have any questions? I'm sure that's good. Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, we're gonna get this started. Thank you, Captain. I know, and for the people online as well, we're gonna start off with some questions here in the room and then online as well. Please raise your hands. We will get to you eventually, I promise. I did make a promise to Sabrina that you go first because I know we discussed this, and then after that, we will be sure to go around.
My name is Sabrina Burton, and I am the lead of the Neighborhood Watch for Bluff Creek Homes.
Thank you.
We are, oh, good, I got a shout out. We are single-family homeowners in phase 2 of Playa Vista over by Runway. Thank you for meeting with us tonight, and Captain, welcome to you to Pacific Division. We look forward to working with you. I'm here to deliver a copy in person of the letter that I emailed to Trey earlier today that I has our public safety wish list from the Neighborhood Watch. Some of my neighbors will speak on the particular issues on that list. I don't know if you had a chance to walk through the community at all. If you did, you might notice there are little pieces of blue painter's tape on a lot of our sidewalks. Now that's not litter. What that is PDPAL goes out and they put those pieces of tape down to show where the sidewalks are starting to buckle. And then they send out work crews to shave those sidewalks down. So that throughout Playa Vista, with the exception of a couple of blocks that have some tree issues, we have flat, accessible, safe sidewalks. The residents of Playa Vista, people in this room, pay for that work with our HOA dues to our master association. We also pay for the sweeping of our streets. We maintain the city streetscape. We provide supplemental lighting that makes it safe to walk here at night and harder to do crimes. And we fund our 24-hour PDPAL patrol. Thank you, Warren. How are we compensated for this generosity? We get little in the way of patrols from LAPD. We see you drive up and down Lincoln, you don't come through Playa Vista. We get almost no parking enforcement. We struggle to report crimes to you because we cannot communicate with LAPD because the phones don't work. Okay, so I don't know where the crime statistics came from. Neighborhoods like Brentwood, they get FaceTime with the mayor and the chief of police and with you on a regular basis. Task forces are dispatched to address needed cleanup, special burglary investigations. And in the 4 years that I've lived here, this is the first meeting that I have known about with anyone from City Hall. So thank you for breaking that barrier for us. I hope tonight that we will have captured your attention. As a token of our appreciation, I brought you a little gift. They say CD11 loves Playa Vista.
That is so
And
cute.
LAPD loves Playa Vista. So I hope that you guys will find a place in the office to keep these, to remember that your A student needs attention too, right? Just because our little brothers are tagging the underpasses doesn't mean that you can neglect us, okay? So thank you very much, and thanks always to Trey. He always answers my
I really appreciate that, and let me just, those are so stinking cute, oh my gosh. Really, really darn cute, careful, careful, got a OSHA violation now. I just want you to know, that seriously. I just want you to know, I am always here and available to you. We need to do a lot more community meetings and sit down and do a lot more of it in person. So I hear you loud and clear, and, you know, I just really also want to say thanks to Trey and Juan Fregoso, it's here somewhere, our trustee district director. You know, these two on the ground are the folks who make the magic happen every single day. And so I just want to say thank you to them. And I really think it helps to do this in person too, because you get to know us. And you get to actually hear us and talk to us and get your questions answered. So I appreciate that feedback. You know, I hear you about the patrols too. And I really think that, you know, Captain Eppolito and Captain Robles are hearing your concerns. And I don't want any part of this district to feel like it's not getting the services that it deserves. And you guys contribute a lot. And you don't ask for much. And I think that that really needs to be recognized. So I appreciate the note. I hear you. You're welcome.
Okay, I saw your hand first. Just want to be fair. I'm also gonna avoid the OSHA violation.
So like Sabrina, I'm also a member of the Bluff Creek Neighborhood Watch. My name is Ivrea. I'm also a longtime board member of the Playa Vista Moms Group. That's 400 families. I'm on the board of Friends of Playa Vista Elementary School. So like the rest of us, I think we're not just neighborhood busybodies. We are out there trying to make a difference, showing up today, missing dinner with our families. And quick comment before I say what I was going to say, well under a minute. I know you mentioned the property crime was up 9%, and I guarantee you it's much higher because a lot of us have given up calling 911. We end up on hold. I just don't bother anymore. It's not like I'm experiencing things where I need to call 911 all the time, but in the instances where I've needed to, I just, so with that said, right now, Playa Vista has almost zero parking enforcement. On my street with a posted 2-hour limit, not a single day goes by without a transient RV parked and the occupants camping out with music and visitors coming and going all day long. Nightly, there are multiple vehicles with inhabitants sleeping overnight. The humanitarian crisis of unhoused persons is creeping into Playa Vista, and no actions are being taken to deter it as far as I can see as a homeowner. As you're well aware, and you mentioned entrenchment, once an encampment is established, removing it, although lucrative probably for some, for the rest of us, it's difficult, expensive, and a protracted process. It's far easier and cheaper to prevent one from forming in the first place. So increasing parking enforcement here will reduce entrenchment and deter the formation of encampments which destroy property values, scare away local customers, and become a blight on our community in your CD11. And parking citations aren't just about cars. They send a message. They are proof in writing that this is not a lawless neighborhood, although it sometimes feels like it is. So my request is simple. What can you do to ensure that the low-hanging fruit of enforcing existing parking rules starts immediately?
So great question, thank you. So let me first, with the parking enforcement. So we I don't know exactly where you live and
Sea-glass.
Seaglass. So Trey, do you know what the regular parking enforcement deployment is to Playa Vista?
I couldn't tell you off the top of
It
my.
might be zero.
It might be.
It might be.
I get tickets all the time. Street cleaning all the time.
That's
That's what.
what I'm talking
Yeah,
about, because
street
they may be here
Well, street
citing,
cleaning, yeah,
like
yeah.
street cleaning and other types of parking restrictions, but not the oversized vehicles.
Or the 2-hour parking. Cars park in front of my house for days at a time.
So we can, where we have a particular issue, set aside the vehicles, the RVs with people living in them. Put that issue aside, because there's a whole different kettle of issues and challenges that I don't want to bore you with, that go with that piece of it. But where we have parking violations and known ongoing problems, we can search DOT resources, which are extremely limited. And I will tell you, part of the reason that I voted no on the budget this year is because 80 DOT parking enforcement officers were cut. And that is a huge impact on consistency, regularity. I will tell you, I have personally been annoyed by some of the strategies around ticketing. On my street the other day in Venice, there were 2 DOT parking enforcement officers writing tickets to my neighbors that had not moved across the street for street sweeping that may or may not be coming. Meanwhile, 2 RVs parked on Washington in front of the Kinney Hotel that haven't moved in 2 years,
Talked to you
never
about it
seemed
this
to
year,
get a ticket. So I was driving down my street, and I rolled down the window in my car and I asked the parking enforcement officer, "Nice to see you out here citing my neighbors. Do you think you can go hit up the 2 RVs in front of the Kinney Hotel?" And I got a long bureaucratic answer about, we only have a deployment in this area and we don't cite vehicles when people are living in them. And if you don't like it, call the council office. That's what she told me. Call the council. Ma'am, I am the council office. And I'm asking you to please go cite those RVs that haven't been cited that need to be. And so it is an ongoing challenge. Councilmember Lee and I introduced a motion asking for direction to DOT for guidance to give clear, consistent enforcement. There have been and are ongoing class action lawsuits about the city's policies dealing with vehicles that have people living in them. And that continues to be an ongoing challenge. We continue to tow and impound where we have the legal ability to do so. And that is not in every case. And LAPD can't and won't, and DOT can't and won't likely remove someone out of the vehicle for impounding simply for a parking violation. That said, I hear you. Let's talk about where some of those spaces are that we might need some general enforcement. We're going to keep working on the nuisance vehicles and the vehicle dwelling policies. And if you know me at all, you know that I am doing everything I can to restore common sense in some of the way that we approach those things. With respect to reporting crime, it's really important that you do it. I know that there are long delays, especially when you call the non-emergency number. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of crimes you can report online. You're probably not going to get somebody to come out and conduct an investigation, but there is a document, a record of that crime potentially having been committed. And why does that matter? It helps us identify where the crime problems are, and it gives me the data that I need as your council member when I lobby for their budget and where and how to deploy their resources. So I know it is a pain. What is going on with dispatch, and why does it take so long to get somebody on the phone? And why is it that it seems like it's hit or miss whether LAPD responds when it's a low-level offense, like a property crime, right? Obviously, if you have a hot prowl, someone on your property, in your property, breaking into your property, that's different. But like, let's say you came home and you found, your mail was stolen off the front porch, or your car had been broken into. What does it take to get you guys out?
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you for that great question. Like the council member mentioned, we encourage you to report crime. But again, I understand the challenges. Unfortunately, we do have staffing shortages at our communications division. The way it works, it's prioritized from different categories, the way the call is prioritized. There's a code 3 call where there's lights and sirens. That's an emergency basis. Someone needs immediate help and assistance, or there's a suspect right there at the location where there's a robbery occurring, a handgun, there's immediate threat to the victim or to in the area. Officers are redirected to respond to that call, regardless of what they're doing with lights and sirens. That's when you see the code 3 response. On average, our Pacific Division is responding within 6 minutes of where they are from where they receive the call. That's the average, and we're pretty consistent.
But we can't get you on
So-
the phone.
I'll touch on that really quickly. I just want to give an overview as to how we operate and how our officers are deployed. So at the code 3 call, code 2 call is the suspect no longer there, the suspect has left. So it's a code 2 response, it doesn't require lights and sirens. And then we have non-coded calls where it also requires obviously police response. Every call that officers get to is recorded. We will know from beginning to end what happens with that call. We have to meet with the person reporting. Now, like I mentioned, because it does take, I recognize, I acknowledge it does take long to get through dispatch. That's why I'm offering my number and my email for you to contact me directly. I have that phone 24/7, and if I have to give you the schedules of our watch commanders, so you can email them directly, then at that point, we will bypass the communications division to assist and support all of you. We don't control communications division. That's an entire different entity within our department. The calls get routed through there. If it is an emergency basis, yes, definitely call 911. But if you're not able for some reason to get successfully dispatched through, then I will connect you with our watch commander. Our watch commander is there covered 24/7, and we'll make sure we respond to your call as well. So that's how I am offering the services to prioritize public safety for all of you. And I'll provide you my number, I'll provide you my email address. I'll work with Warren, and you will have access to all the watch commanders who are working that night, that day, the shift, mid-shift. And there's always someone there 24/7 responsible for the deployment of our division.
It's good. Thank you, Captain. I also want to say as well, in regard to sort of the ongoing parking enforcement issues, that's something that you can reach out to us about. As the councilwoman alluded to, we can surge some resources, especially around certain streets. I can say like, hey, we've gotten a lot of reports that there's no enforcement on this street. These cars are here. They will go. It's a little bit easier. It's not like a sure bet every time, but we can definitely help with that. Absolutely.
Sure, I could real quick, just touch up on that. Just to touch up on the target, it's funny you mention that because I have the privilege of being on what's called LAPD incident management team. So I was a big part of the Palisades in the beginning all throughout. And when you work on those, you make a lot of relationships. So I happen to know the head of DOT. So I called him today because I plan on doing another operation unrelated at Dockweiler Beach. And I just was speaking to our new DOT captain for the area. And he was very helpful in the situation I was dealing with when I called him today. So I want to ensure that I talked to him and that we will get DOT resources out here to give you some enforcement. They might not be out here every day, but I will make the call and we will get them out here.
This isn't a question, it's actually a big thank you. My name is Monica Cornejo. I live at Joy Mills, closer to Bologna Creek, facing the reserve. On March 18th, I had a home break-in while I was home. I just want to thank, first of all, Councilwoman Park and LAPD for being here. I want to thank LAPD. I did call 911. I immediately they said, is it an emergency? Obviously, it wasn't. So I got quickly transferred. Again, I was nervous, long story short, as I talk about it. So I just want to say thank you to LAPD for your professionalism, your integrity, your commitment, and the quick response and the peace of mind that I had while I was in my home when they broke in. And mine was through the first floor. I'm OCD, I lock everything in my house, even when I'm on the third floor. Door was locked. There was an earthquake. It wasn't. They shattered my window. And as soon as I stepped down to the first floor and I turned on the light, they had literally lifted the latch to slide the door to come in. So thank you again. Blessings to all our community and for all of us to look out for each other and the great, but thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Councilwoman Tyson.
Hi, Ron.
How are you?
Good.
I haven't seen you in a long time. I'll be quick. My name is Lani Zaidi. I'm the CEO of the technology company behind Home Depot. And unfortunately, we are skirting a lot of issues. The e-bikes are clear, but the kids who ride the e-bikes, they are not presenting public danger, they are not violent, they don't do drugs on the street. Behind Home Depot, 5 months ago, one tent popped up. We called the Pacific Division. Then two. Now there is a village. I would like to share the pictures. There is a village of few hundred people, certain amount of,
Along the creek, right, Elon?
yes.
Where they
it's
cut
on the
through that,
paper,
that hole in the
5,000.
chain link
It was a
fence?
great- And they are moving down, it's a moving target. They are violent, they are threatening our people. We had to hire private security. They are not moving. We called many times to the Pacific Division. I got to the point that I sent a letter to the chief of police about a month ago. There was no response. And I understand there are stretched resources, but that gets to be very difficult for us to keep our people because we are starting at 5 a.m. And when people are coming and they are looking strange and threatening, it's a very difficult situation. These pictures are from this morning incident.
And this is a really good example of the entrenchment and how quick it happens. And you're not wrong. When one pops up, it turns to 2 to 3 to 4 very, very quickly. Right where they are here, that's on the county stretch, right? Along.
They are also the
Oh,
private
sorry,
property.
Richard.
Private property. It's
Oh, that
private
bit is on, oh, that's on your property.
property. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm gonna ask LEPD to chime in on what we can do because it is on the private property. I believe that these individuals here are well, they are trespassing if they're on private property. But they are an example of a group of individuals that has been moved around, intervened on again and again and again. A lot of these folks in some of these encampments, there's another one in the median on the 90 freeway in there. They know we can't get to them in there because it's Caltrans. I don't have a right of entry in there. We're sorting that out now.
Under the freeway, actually, it's illegal, there is a law.
Yeah. So there are a few places like this where we are talking about some very entrenched folks who do not want help or services. They don't want to go. And there are a handful of these groups that we have, and you know, people describe it as whack-a-mole. Yes, that is what we have resorted to prevent entrenchment for the people that refuse the alternatives that we offer. And that's what we are down to here. So LAPD, given that this batch is on private property, what is the next step that needs to happen here to address that particular spot?
I'm looking for help.
Yeah, he's here asking for help.
On this particular location.
Yes, so, this area, it is private, my understanding, so there is signage and there's trespass orders. Have you been able to file a trespass order? Is there one on file, paperwork that allows us to make an arrest on your behalf?
We have put signs, trespassing signs, what they do, they tear them down. We had the fence, all property, they tore down the fence. One portion of the fence that they haven't torn down, they're hanging clothes or whatever it is. But that bicycle, that motorcycle, and okay, if we see a fairly late model car, it's almost difficult to tell.
Let's get him a trespass letter on file ASAP.
This will,
Let's
we'll
start.
prioritize this, the trespass file, we'll follow up with you on, after the meeting.
I can meet you after the meeting, and I'll give you my,
Yes.
Could you just take one of those and put it on the camera so the people that are here could actually see what you're looking at? Is it, all you do? Yeah.
I'll show you what I'm
That's
looking at.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard for people on the Zoom, but I'll show them separately. It was about 15 tents.
Yeah.
So is this on Bird Island? Whatever you call it,
Marina Island.
Marina Island, whatever it is.
it's, I would say by now there's few hundred, and there's about 30 or 40 tents.
It was 15 is what I counted in the shot. There's
Yeah.
probably
I
more
couldn't take
tucked
the
under
picture
here
of the whole
too.
net, so it was kind of spread out.
Not a few hundred. No, there's 15 in the photo. Yeah, but that's 15 too many. And there are people
Yeah.
who are committing a crime, trespassing in a place that they are not supposed to be. So
If they weren't
what
violent,
say you, LAPD? How do we get them out of
they are violent, and they're threatening.
that? You should
absolutely-
not engage with them. You should not do that. These people are unstable and unpredictable. And for all of you, please hear me. I know it's frustrating and I know tempers run high and I know sometimes the inclination is to go out and start an argument or exchange words. Please don't do that. Please.
Following this meeting, we will have police presence and we'll talk afterwards.
Thank you very much.
You know, our people, it's a high technology company, it's engineering, it's a 70 people. We have about roughly in the beginning, 100 people, women that are coming for 5 a.m. We have private security because we were afraid to get out of the car. Like,
Okay.
they watch the car, they look in, they.
Let us work with you and LAPD. 'Cause here's the other thing that we need to think about. If we're gonna go in and have LAPD remove them, where are they gonna go? So I don't want them migrating into your neighborhood or causing a problem somewhere else. So we're gonna have to work across providers to figure out what to do.
So yeah, let's work on a solution after this. I do want to be mindful of everybody's time. I know we have a few more questions in the crowd, and also while I have it in front of me, I know somebody virtually, Trisha, asked a question of you guys that I just want to get out here. She says, with Pacific Division headquarters being less than a mile from Playa Vista, is it possible for LAPD to route patrol and motorcycle units through Playa Vista streets as they leave or return to headquarters as a way to increase police visibility at no additional cost, especially given the crime in our area is often underreported and we have a low law patrol presence in our community?
Yes, that's absolutely an available resource to us, and we will coordinate with West Traffic Division so that motor officers have high visibility. They have a different command, a different captain under them, but we have close relationship with all divisions. So it's an absolute request that we will accommodate.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Wonderful. All right, I hope that helps. Trisha, yes, sir. Walk over here. I feel like I've been giving this side of the room.
Violation.
Oh, yeah. I'm giving that side of the room a little love. Here you go, sir.
Thank you. I've been accused of not needing a microphone. My name
Me
is Jeff. I like the passion. My name is Jeff Freshtick. I live in Schuyler, across from the Google hangar, phase 2, which for some reason LA City believes is LA County, not LA City. I want to rehash the same parking problem. We have cars on Feeling Circle, which license plates have been expired for 5 years, parked on the road. We've got cars, license plates expired 2 years. I walk my dog 3 times a day. Warren and I have had a lot of fun riding around the golf cart, taking pictures of these license plates. The cars are still there. However, a different problem I have not heard anybody mention, the drag strip. You may call it Millennium, we call it the drag strip. From campus to Westlake, 1 o'clock in the morning is a drag strip. We need speed bumps like we did on Bluff Creek, because somebody is going to get killed as these Lamborghinis, or whatever they are blowing down that road at full throttle. And this happens regularly. We are awakened in the middle of the night by the sound of high-performance vehicles blowing down that road.
Weekends or weeknights?
Hmm?
Weekends or weeknights?
Every night.
Every night.
Every night.
Okay, this is.
When? Around midnight, you said?
Usually it's about midnight on, midnight to 2 in the morning.
We can have
Warren has
an extra.
got some input on some of these.
Captain Robles is making a note to see if
But what
we
we
can
really
get you
need,
some
we
extra
need
eyes.
speed bumps, speed lumps, like put it on Bluff Creek. There's no reason not to. You're very welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
I'm always down to put speed humps and treatments in that slow that kind of thing down.
It'll also stop the bikers doing wheelies coming down Millennium, standing on.
That's one way to teach them.
Right.
So I'm always open to that discussion. I will just warn you in advance, there are long, complicated bureaucratic studies that DOT has to do to assess traffic nuisance being, but we'll put it in the queue.
Yeah, it's
We'll take
actually
a look.
already in the queue. I have it on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. But you are right, it does take a lot more work than it should. Okay, I
It's
want to be
super
mindful of everybody's time. I know it's 7:30. I think we're willing to stick around for a few more minutes and take a couple more questions, but I think we should start to wrap
Yes.
up a little bit. Would you like to meet me halfway?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, my name is Ted. I'm part of the Bluff Creek Homes Neighborhood Watch as well. My question stems from a recent incident, and I want to make everyone aware that's in the Playa Vista area. I caught someone on camera and with a ring sensor in my mailbox accessing the entire cluster box. We believe they have a what's called an arrow key, which means they have access to the entirety of the 90094 area codes cluster boxes. So I think they're being efficient with it, only grabbing stuff from a few people at a time so people don't notice. But we noticed, and that's what I installed a sensor on it, and 2 days later it got activated, which means to me, it wasn't just a coincidence that it happened 2 days later. They were regularly accessing this and being methodical about it. But even so, with camera evidence and all that, it wasn't enough. I know that maybe one of the apartment complexes got the license plate number. And I've been trying to coordinate with Warren and the USPIS and the LAPD, but it's just not enough. And to that point, I know that we have several ALPR cameras allocated. I believe we have 2 allocated to Playa Vista. In talking with my fellow residents, we don't think that's enough. When are those going to be installed? And if that is not enough, I know other neighborhoods like Cheviot Hills have gone through the process of providing their own or donating their own to the police departments there. So if that is not enough, which we think it's not, there should be a program in place by which, if the residents deem it necessary, to fund it themselves, donate it to the LAPD, and get this going. Because I know you said that there's a process, a new technology package coming in. We want to be able to help if we don't think it's going fast enough or it's enough. So to summarize, when are those cameras coming in? And the mail thing aside, what can we expect as far as cameras and license plate readers go?
So we expected the 200 that we bought to be put in by the end of this year. We have 80 square miles to cover with that tiny limited number. It's not enough. It was just the first investment in working closely with LAPD to identify key points of ingress and egress. There are lots of places where we're not going to have quite enough, but it is a starting point. If you all, as an HOA, want to pay for them, we have a mechanism to do that and to work with you to get them installed, and we can do it much, much faster. So that is an opportunity. We're trying to do it as quickly as we can for everybody. There are going to be funding issues and limitations and timeline challenges to do it if it all falls to us. If you have a willingness and a desire to do that, I highly, highly recommend it. Let us help you through that process.
Feel free to take my card or Alyssa's card back here, because we have had this conversation with several people. I can kind of walk you through the steps of what you could expect if that is something that you want to.
I just want all my neighbors to be aware of the mail thing, because keep an eye out, because they have access to everybody in these rooms. If you are in a cluster box, that access to your mail.
So I want LAPD to speak to that particular technology, since I'm not familiar with it, but these criminals are getting higher and higher in terms of the tech that they're using with the Wi-Fi jammers and other types of tools to get into people's cars and properties. So what is this jammer that he's talking about? And is there anything that you can do to help address it?
What you're exactly talking about, sir, I haven't personally experienced. First of all, did you file a report when they took your mail?
I did, and I have it on camera. And I didn't talk about a jammer or anything. They have what's called an arrow key, which is a mailbox master key. And I can see it on my video, they open up the front of one of those cluster boxes. So they have access to it. everybody's managing.
Okay, the most important thing, as you mentioned earlier, is that you report it, because if you don't report it and you don't tell us, we don't know about it.
I did, and I had to go to the police station because the non-emergency phone line just gives me a busy tone.
So I hear you I hear you on the non-emergency, everybody, and I know that's a concern, and it's something we'll work on. We will follow up with the melting, but also to speak to the councilwoman, you talk about jammer, that is something going on, particularly we're seeing it with our burglaries. A lot of times, we'll have crews that come in, when they hit houses, they actually use Wi-Fi jammers to jam up and take down your Wi-Fi and all your electronics. So when they go in the house, there's no cameras. A lot of times, we do catch them on cameras, but as you may or may not know, a lot of times they're gloved up, they're wearing masks, so they're very hard to identify. So it's very important in your community, and this is big. When you see cars driving around that don't look like they belong in the area, they'll usually have dark tinted windows, they'll have no plates, the plates are covered. And individuals that might be wearing masks, they usually roll 2-3 cars each. You need to let us know right away, because if you see, well, I'll tell you.
Good question.
No, that's a great question, and I've caught a couple. Because a lot of times you'll have a resident where, they have cameras, and someone actually breaks into their house, and they'll call 911, or a neighbor will call 911, and we can get an air unit up. If we can't get here fast enough, because we don't have drones, and we're able to take them into custody. We're not always able to do that, but a lot of times they'll come into these areas and they don't hit right away. They're out here, what we call casing the area. And if we know they're out there, we know they're in certain sections of the neighborhood, we can bring our resources into that to help deter the crime. Okay, so a lot of it is getting on the phone and calling 911, and I understand it doesn't always work with the non-emergency. I hear you on that problem, and we will work on better communication.
So I know everyone has a cell phone. You can do me a favor, just pull it out. I'm asking you, when there's an emergency case basis, call me directly. Selena Robles, Pacific Captain.
Use the mic.
For any emergency purposes, if you're not successful in dialing 911, I encourage you to first call 911. For anything related to Pacific Division, you can call me directly if it's emergency basis. If you are not able to coordinate with Warren, call me directly. 323-363-2295. I will coordinate resources to respond. This is on an emergency basis.
Can you repeat it?
323-363-2295.
Did you name again?
Selena Robles, Celina Robles, Captain Robles, Patrol for Pacific Division. This is for emergency case basis. You can always text, call, email me. My email is 38064. 38064 @lapd.online.
Will these calls register as a for your purposes of your statistics and potential allocation of resources?
When our vehicles get deployed, if you were to call me, I would call our watch commander. Then our watch commander will direct a patrol unit to respond to the area. At that point, the patrol unit records the call over the air with dispatch or on their computer data system. So every call gets recorded through our digital system.
So even if we might ask LAPD phone number, this will be registered for the stats.
It will be registered because the unit is responding to that particular call. Right, but I do encourage you, try to trust the system first with 911. Because there's a delay to calling me, then it's a third-hand person, then I'm calling the watch commander, whereas the communications division will immediately dispatch any and all available resources. If it's an airship that's required, code 3 response. So there'll be a bit of delay going through me, although we can immediately address it by bypassing the waiting line with communications division as well. So I'll do my best to assist with any support.
Watch commander's number.
Let me be clear on one thing. When it is an emergency situation, a violent crime, you call 911 first. Do not call, Captain Robles for any emergency situation. It goes through 911. They will pick up, they will dispatch. Non-emergency, whole different story. You call myself, you can call Captain Robles. We will get someone out there for anything, that is any type of emergency or violent situation. Call 911. It is the quickest way to get someone out there. That is different from our non-emergency line. And come see me afterwards. I'll also give you my email and my phone number for your non-emergency situations. I'm also working with other community members over at the beach to better, so we have better communication for non-emergency situations. Yes, okay, so my email is gonna be 34270@lapd.online, 34270@lapd.online. My number is 323-610-8721. 323-610-8721. But let me stress, any emergencies, 911. Okay, thank you. Great, thank you, Captain.
Just real quick, Trey just went out to intercept him, but since he does have a report and a case number, I don't know where that may be in any kind of process, but if you guys could make an effort to follow back up with him.
Yeah, we have a detective here, so.
Right, there's the detective, because if he does have some kind of a master key that puts other people at risk, we should take that seriously. Let's see what we can do. Thank you, detectives, for taking care of
I
that.
have a question on that.
Hold on,
Yeah,
we have someone in the queue, I'm taking in for Trey right now, I think he said you were next, sir, and then we'll move on down the line. I'm so sorry, I'm just-
Isn't that a federal crime though, the mail?
Yes, and the post office, what are they called? The inspector general, is that who it is? Postal inspector, they do a lot of related crimes. The detectives will make that connection if it's necessary. All right, sorry, Juan, your managing questions.
Hi, Jason. There are e-riders that have transportation devices that are not well known to the public and fall under uncertainty amongst the public and regulation. I am in a community where we police each other from doing reckless activity because we know if we do, our devices will be regulated. When I hear of the upcoming strategy crackdown of the teens or whoever on the bikes, I know that will trickle down to even the riders that aren't a nuisance. Personally, I find the presence of the police to be traumatic, and the thought of them pulling someone over to scare them off is extremely concerning. My message is to consider the responsible riders when forming a plan to combat the reckless riders.
Jason, thank you for expressing that concern, and I'll let LAPD speak to it as well. Look, we are not looking to cause problems for people who are riding respectfully or using their bikes to commute. That's not what the issue is here. What we are dealing with is overt, unsafe conduct and reckless behavior and those sorts of things. And so I do want to be respectful of that. And we don't want to interfere with people just because they're out riding. So LAPD, can you make a commitment that that's not what the task force is for, that they are focusing on the misconduct and the illegal behavior?
Absolutely. The task force or the actions we are planning are for those individuals that are creating havoc and disturbing your neighborhood and breaking the law, not for people going out legally riding an e-bike. So let me be perfectly clear about that. That is the people that we're gonna be going after, the ones that are doing things they're not supposed to be doing and disturbing your community.
Thank you all very much. I want to take one more question from the crowd, but I do believe my counterpart online has said that I think there's one person who has their hand raised. So William, if you could unmute Tom and see if he can still ask his question, if he's still around. Tom, if you're there, I think we could be able to hear you if you ask your question.
Thomas Lesnin?
Okay, I got it.
Oh, Tom, right here.
Okay.
All right, we can hear you.
To go back to the homeless situation, the stretch of Iona Creek's creek bed, you know, the bank on the south side of Biona Creek between Alla and Lincoln,
Yes,
where they keep tearing down the fences, et cetera.
yes, sir.
Few things. One, can your office start working with the county? Because I know it's multi-jurisdictional. And see if a fencing can be installed, not like the one you keep repairing, but a taller one like the business park has with bigger and stronger materials so that we can get that closed off because it is trespassing. And on that same note, at 3 o'clock this morning, I stood on my balcony listening to two homeless guys on bicycles. One of them referred to, he said, and I'll quote, "I know where you're going. You're going to do a 5300." 5300 is our address, and they have been coming up on our patios and stealing propane tanks, cutting locks, doing all kinds of stuff like that. One woman found a homeless guy on her patio the other morning with his phone plugged into the outside electrical. It's getting really dangerous.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tom.
So all of that is conduct that should be reported to the police. We do work with the county. Trey, where are we currently with that spot? Are there folks there now?
There are a few. The last time we conducted a full-scale operation there was several weeks ago. But I will get with our homelessness team to see when we can schedule another one. We have to, Tom, you're right, we have to coordinate with them. Kind of wish it were just city jurisdiction, but it's not. So feel free to reach out to us. I'll try and let you know exactly when the next one is scheduled.
And so, yeah, we can and we will coordinate with the county, as we will with our public safety partners and our city resources. But again, when we do an intervention like that, you know, this is one of the areas where we're having a lot of problems with people they come right back. There's a handful of places like that left that we are just really challenged to get under control because we either don't have a right of entry on it, it's not ours, they just keep cutting holes in fences. But we will work on that area. We want to make sure that when we do an intervention, they aren't just landing right back in your neighborhood. So we'll continue to focus on that area. And, you know, to me, that is both critical infrastructure and environmentally sensitive habitat area. And those are legitimate reasons to regulate those spaces. I use those for the city-owned areas that we have the ability to control and to enter. I will continue to encourage the county to expand its views on those necessary tools as well.
We'll also coordinate with you to residents.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to figure, I agree with you, by the way, online, that fencing is not adequate. And frankly, what we need is something tall, sharp.
Electric.
And electric. Sharp, electric, take your pick. But yeah, we need something that is actually going to serve as a deterrent, and they just take one look at that and roll their eyes out loud.
Thank you very much, Tom. Yes, we will work on that. Like I said, we will be in touch. We have gone well over our time. I'm going to give one more question. If somebody really wants it, you have been raising your hand every time. I'm going to give it to you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Blakely. I live in the Asher community of single family homes. Love living here. It's been amazing. I voted for you. Love you. You're amazing. And I love the LAPD. You guys have been phenomenal. I know you're doing the best you can. About a month ago, two of my dear friends had their home in Encino hit by a burglar who murdered them in cold blood. The night before that home invasion, they were in a meeting just like this with their community members and the local police trying to come up with some solutions for the rampant crime in their area. Here in Playa Vista, we have been begging for the same level of additional policing, additional patrols, any type of additional support we can get. My home was burglarized here, and we still to this day have not gotten a single call back from the police. We handed you guys the burglary weapon. They did extensive fingerprinting throughout our home. We have been asking for multiple years now, if we can even see any of the evidence or any of the personal possession people have had confiscated, burglars that have had confiscated, so we could see if any of our items have been found. We can't get a single response from anyone. It's been years, and that's very frustrating for us.
Captain Eppolito, that's written all over it.
Yeah, that's not acceptable, obviously. So after the meeting, give me your address. I will make sure somebody reaches out for you. And as far as the incident in Sino, it's where I came from. I'm aware of that. It was an unfortunate situation. We will work to increase patrols here, but both black and whites and DOT. And yes, I will try to get the information you need. I'll meet you after the meeting.
Similar to our friends in Encino who had multiple attempted burglaries, we've had multiple attempted burglaries as well in recent years. And there's no way to report those. So I don't know if you're aware of that, Councilwoman Parks, but we can't actually make a police report for attempted burglaries. They can try to break down our doors, but if they don't actually get in, we can't make a police report for that. So none of those crimes, no attempted burglaries are being tracked. And that's what we were told in person by the Pacific Division team.
No, we can't take a report if it's not burglary, it could be trespass, it could be a lot. So it is imperative that you do report it, and if you have a problem and you're not getting a report taken, this goes for anyone in this room, ask for a supervisor. When you make that call, whether you're at the station or they come to your house, if you're unhappy with service, please ask for a supervisor so we can get you the service you need and the clarification you need on your particular issue.
And just as backup to all of that as well, you know, always feel like you can copy our team on it as well. We talk to LAPD literally every day. So we can help escalate issues and serve as a conduit, try to help leverage more resources, make connections like we just did to try to ensure that people are getting the level of customer service that you deserve. I want to just wrap up this evening by thank you all for making the time to be here. We were obviously overdue for this conversation. I know the team is engaged on a day-to-day basis as these issues come up, but I think we've identified some big things, some action items, and some things that you have my commitment to keep working with you to resolve. I just want you to know that no matter how tough things get, how lean resources may be, or how many excuses you may hear out of City Hall, my team and I are here to look under any stone, to move any mountain that we need to try to keep our communities safe. We know it's not a perfect science, but we are incredibly grateful to LAPD for all of their help, for hearing us out and being willing to work with us, and for your patience, especially as we continue dealing with some of these issues. I will be keeping you updated on the legislative efforts around the e-bikes as we move that forward. I'll make sure that we bake that into our newsletters and keep you updated. And as you guys are having community meetings and HOA meetings and neighborhood watch meetings, feel free to invite us. We're always happy to show up to things. We'll come out and help you get organized. If you don't have a neighborhood watch, lean on us for all of that. So with that, let's say thank you one more time to LAPD. Seeing us online this evening. Good night. We'll see you on the next.